Welcome to Wildlife Conversations. I am your host, Jen Ritchie, and I just want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. Thank you for following along. Thank you for listening. Thank you for commenting, liking. If you haven't followed Wildlife Conversations yet, you can on Instagram at Wildlife Conversations Podcast. Jen L. Ritchie on Instagram, that's me. You can follow on YouTube under Jen Ritchie Photography, and you could also find Wildlife Conversations Podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So thank you to everyone who's already done that. And if you haven't, you can jump over there and do that after this. But I started this podcast with inspiration from Maureen Matson and Jenny Cannon in Alaska last year, because we wanted to hear more stories like our own. And we felt like we just didn't hear stories that sounded like us, smaller accounts, and just, we weren't professionals, but we just loved this so much. And so I know that resonates with a lot of you. And I'm just so thankful that we have this community. My guest tonight is a passionate wildlife photographer like me, whose work covers everything from Grizzly 399 to great gray owls. She is based in Seattle, Washington, but loves the Greater Yellowstone Ecosystem. When she's not working and being a busy mom, she is out hiking the great outdoors or soaking in a bear spotting. I am so glad we met last fall in the Tetons, and please welcome my guest and friend, Kelly Wasenmiller. Hi, Kelly.
Hi. Hi, Jen.
I'm so glad to see your face.
I know. The last time I saw you, you were like covered in frost. Oh,
Totally.
and here's Griz.
There's Griz. We all get to see Griz on your Instagram and in person. Sometimes he travels everywhere with you.
He does.
He's a handsome, handsome boy.
He can be. He can be. But yes, it's so good to see you. We had such a fun trip in Yellowstone.
We did. So we met in the Tetons this past fall at just sitting around waiting for owls and that kind of stuff.
And it was hot. Do you remember it was hot?
Yeah, that was a hot fall. Yes. We had followed each other on Instagram, so it was nice to meet in person. And then Maureen Matson set up a Yellowstone trip. And we got to, both of us were on it. And it was really fun.
She is the ultimate party planner, and that's the ultimate party for photographers, right? Absolutely. So it was an incredible trip. Yes. So we met there, and we cruised Lamar Valley first.
We did 3 days. Well, we didn't quite get 3 days because we left early because we were getting a lot of snow coming. So we wanted to get down those passes. And I'm not a mountain girl, so I just listened to whatever Jenny and Maureen said.
Oh, I don't know. I have a video of you when you say you're not a mountain girl. You're on your knees. The frost is blowing. You're trying to adjust your jacket. You're trying to rest your camera on the snow drifts. I don't know. I think that's pretty mountain girl. It was pretty wild.
That was a wild moment. The wind, the snow, and I couldn't even really see the bison. And Maureen's down there. Where is Maureen? I don't know. Got back in the car. Her hair was full of snow.
And it was in our pockets, and our lenses were covered. And I even think, to call you out, there was 1 or 2 times I think we stopped to shoot the bighorns there, just down the road in Lamar. And you were like, I'm out, I'm done. Like the wind blowing and totally. Trying to hold the lens.
Yeah, I was like, back to the Jeep. That's right.
Yes.
I don't know. At some points it was like, okay, there's no good photography at this moment, right? This moment with ice pelting my face.
Right. It was like, are we ready for the Cook City coffee shop yet?
That was great. I miss it. And then we headed to West Yellowstone and spontaneously did a public snow coach on Friday.
Emphasis on public.
And then a private one on Saturday with 13 women. And I think we had a pretty epic experience. Do you want to tell people about
We did. So I think we went early because Lamar was pretty dead, right? It was a little dead. Yeah. I mean, it had its moments.
Yeah.
You crying at the injured bison walking down the road. Like we had that moment.
It's true.
We had some beautiful shots there. But yes, so we went down there, and was our public day a great day? I can't remember, but we had word that there was some great wolf action happening. And I think that that's what encouraged us to head that way.
Yeah.
the day that we were out there with the 13 of us was incredible. So as you know, we started that day coming in through the Madison River Valley, and we saw those wolf tracks, right? And that's what we were at. That's what we were after.
That's right.
And we were packed in there like sardines because it was a smaller coach, wasn't it?
Yes. We had every seat filled. Yep.
Yes. Yes. And we were after these wolves. That's what we wanted to see. And you know what's significant for me is that I know we all wanted this shot of these wolves, and we wanted to see the whole experience and the chase and the hunt. And you remember we saw those bison in the valley, and then we saw them being on alert after we saw the tracks, and then they started running. And I think our drivers said, like, I'm not a big bison expert, but during the winter, they're usually in smaller herds, and it was an enormous herd for winter. Didn't he say like over 300 or something like that?
And when they started stampeding, he said it had to be a mile and a half.
It was wild. Yeah. It was wild. I distinctly remember towards the end of the stampede of these bison, and I have this video of these two bison, and one of them was profoundly limping. Yes. Like lame in the front end, you could see. Do you remember that?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
And he had a buddy. And every time he would stop to rest, his buddy would stop with them.
So
like
true.
With the wolves on their tail. Like, is that not the most incredible loyalty that you see? I mean, it was, I don't know. I might be like, you're on your own, man. I don't know.
I'll remember that. I'll remember that.
That's a pretty good friend. But we did end up with those wolves, two black ones, right? Yes, and they came up, and we got ahead and up on the bridge to watch them. And I know, like there's that one of those images when the wolf took off into the woods and stopped, and we were in the snow coach because we were so close.
Yeah.
And I know I should tell stories about animals, but you remember my phone experience.
Yes.
So we're in the snow coach, and I happened to be by the emergency exit window that has like a hinge at the top. So it like flaps open.
Yeah.
And Jesse, the driver,
had said, great. He was great.
He's fantastic. You can open your window because the wolves were taking off down the road. He's like, you can open your window and like hang out. So I thought, I'll get my camera out here and get my lens out and at least be set up. So if one of them turns around and looks over their shoulder, I can get a shot. Well, I had leaned out of the window so far that it was like my waist was on the edge of the window, and it was a slow motion, like almost a Lane moment from Seinfeld. And I heard this clunk, and my phone hits the side of the snow coach, and I just see it slowly tumble into this like 3 or 4 powder.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my phone. And you can't jeopardize everybody's experience after wolves, right?
Right.
And I'm thinking, how do I get home? Like my boarding pass is on there. We'll never find it. We'll never find it. You know, what if a kid falls out of a tree and breaks an arm? Like, what's going to happen?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Jesse yells back, we'll come back for it. And I can't argue with them because I have 12 women with me who will beat the you-know-what out of me if I say that.
But I mean, it was pure chaos at that moment. Because they were running in front of us, and then they got spooked by a ranger on a snowmobile and turned and went into the woods. And so we were like in snow, like in the snow coach, trying to, make sure we were positioned correctly. And everyone was up and down, trying to get in position in the snow coach. And then you weren't the only one, because Nicole also, remember, she had to go back and get her phone too. So it was just pure chaos of people trying to photograph and it was crowded, but I've said it before, like everyone was so polite and so kind. And I just loved that part, but it was like an unbelievable experience that happened so quickly and chaotically.
It did. I mean, this shot of this wolf here was, I mean, I think he probably stopped there for a fraction of a second, and you just, what are you doing? Are you just praying and shooting? Is that what you're doing at the time, because it's so fast, and so many of them I had to junk because they weren't worth it. And I was even able to like salvage one of them. But it was pretty incredible seeing them in that chest deep snow and the contrast of the black and white.
It was, especially when we were all waiting on the bridge, and we were like, are there wolves? Are there not wolves? And then here they came way behind, trudging through that snow. And so that was my first time seeing wolves in the wild. So that was pretty cool for me. And my first time, was it your first time in winter in Yellowstone, or had you been before?
I have not been to Yellowstone in the winter, but I have only seen a wolf one other time.
Yeah.
Which was at Oxbow in the Tetons last year.
Oh, that's cool. That's very cool.
It was very cool. And I met some really beautiful people that day that are great friends.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is I was driving by myself, and I probably shouldn't say this on a wildlife podcast, but I'm just going to say it. And I'm driving, and you get so excited. You just get so excited when you see something. And I'm driving, and I see this something move along like the riverbank. And Oxbow, like it can be far away because there's that big space between the road and stuff, and you're cruising really fast and you see. And I had texted a couple of friends that were in the area, and I was like, oh, can't believe I'm saying this. There's a coyote at Oxbow.
Well, that's what you would think. I was gonna say that is what you would think it would be. Right.
Well, I had never seen him in there before.
Right.
And so I farm out my little text, and then I go turn around and I come back. And as I come back, he's come up and he's crossed the road. And I realize like my heart's racing. I'm like, that kind of looks like a wolf, but so I've really, with that group of friends, have never lived that down. Yeah.
I think it's an honest mistake. Honest mistake.
I've never called a grizzly a black bear though, ever.
Right. I probably did before, like 10 years ago. I may have wondered, but so you are a busy mom. You are working. You found this passion. So how did you find, what is your journey to photography? And then how does it enhance your life? Like, how does it bring peace to you in the midst of all that, of working and trying to be the best mom you can?
Do we try to be the best mom? I don't know. Some days we're just, totally. You just get them to the end of the day.
That's what I mean. The best mom you can.
So I was raised like outside. There was a ton of outdoor adventures. I hunted by the time I was 10. So it's just ingrained in me. So I think that like my natural love of being outside was very innate. It was 2017 and I was in Grand Teton National Park and completely oblivious to grizzlies. Like I knew they were there, but I knew nothing. And we were driving through and I had this cheapy camera on my lap and I see this bear come out and I see these two tiny little cubs, and it was mesmerizing to me. She stopped, she like looked at the road, she looked behind at her cubs, she stopped again, like she was so aware of everything happening around her. And and these little cubs stood on their back legs, when they stand up to get a better view, and then she crosses and she disappears, and it was just this like, I mean, was I? Yeah, I was a mom at the time. I was actually a mom at the time. And it just amazed me that it felt so relatable.
Yeah.
It was just, it was like, it was this emotive experience with this bear. And I have the most blurriest images of it ever, and they're on my Instagram, but I don't care. And that's what started this whole journey.
Yeah, that's right.
Multiple times a year, every year thereafter. Yeah. And then I soon learned her and learned about her. And here we are, right?
Yeah. That's so amazing. I hear so many people say 2017. I don't know what was magic about that.
Really?
Yes, that's the same with me. I got my first DSLR in 2017. I hear so many people say that year.
Did you just say your first DSLR?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still shooting on that.
I know. Tell us what you're shooting on.
Oh my gosh. This is like, oh geez.
Do not be embarrassed. I'm the only one.
Well, I can take a lot of shit. Is it okay if I said that? Yeah, I can take. So I have now adopted this name of Machine Gun Kelly because it's so loud out there. My
yes, I remember that. Yes, I remember that.
But I haven't made the upgrade yet. Like there just hasn't been the opportunity, and I need to soon.
So you have a D850, right?
I do.
And that is a great camera body.
I love that camera. Yeah. And I have the 2-500, and I love that. And I think I'm one of those people that I'm about ready to make the jump. I'm so close to making the jump because it's time, and I can, and resources are available to do that. And but I sort of felt like I wanted to earn it. I sort of felt like I wanted to exhaust my skills on the D850. It's kind of like a pilot. You know, the pilots, I think, I'm not a pilot, but I've heard like there's autopilot, right?
Yes, yes.
But can you fly the plane without autopilot? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's sort of like
Yeah.
the DSLR to the mirrorless. Like I wanted to make sure I knew how to use my camera before I made the jump too.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'll be honest with you, I've shot with friends and I see people's images and I'm like, huh, yeah, I'd love to have something just like that. I might,
But I mean, your images are beautiful. Michelle Osterhus has joined us. She's here. She says, girl, you are living proof that it's not the camera, it's the photographer. Your work is beautiful. And I forgot to say, everybody, you can say hi in the chat. I've seen Michelle and Cynthia say hi. So if you're here and you want to say hi to Kelly and tell us where you're listening from, please say hi in the chat. And we'd love to see who's here. That'd be awesome. Sorry, Kelly.
No, that's fine.
Anyway,
that's fine.
So that's what you're shooting now. And I honestly didn't even notice when we were in Yellowstone. I did hear you say Machine Gun Kelly. That was funny. Mike Williams says hi from New Zealand to you, Kelly.
Hi.
That is so cool. So you had sort of a transitional moment in 2021 with 399, sort of like one of those once in a lifetime moments. So it's spring, everyone is waiting, everyone is watching, and I don't know, but it sounds like maybe you were the first one to see her that year. I don't know, but
not when she came out with the quads. I wasn't.
Okay.
I wasn't there when she came out with the quads.
But the next year, out of the den, in the
I did. Yes, I saw her about 3 weeks after she came out of the den with those babes.
Okay.
You know, you get your oil changed, you gas your car up, and you're like, I'm out of here. Like, well, I'm not missing this. And I remember driving.
Your time.
Yeah, because it takes like 13 hours to get there for me.
Yeah.
And I remember I loaded my kids in the car, threw their iPads in, said, grab a few pairs of underwear because we're going. And I remember rolling into the park about 14, 15 hours later, and she had just come out of the tree line with these cubs. And it was just to, I mean, I'd seen pictures, but just to see her and to see one by one these little babes come out.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, this image was a year later when she took them to the den on New Year's Day.
That's right. Took them to the den. That's why there's snow.
On New Year's Day. And so I was there with my daughter, Grace, and I had got the call, I think December 30th. I got a call, like she's headed north. She's going. And, you know, she had spent that autumn in these treacherous experiences in town and south of town, right? Where she took everybody on this goose chase. And do you remember when she came out of the den with these four? Yes. And everyone was saying, like, Cub of the Year statistics. I had kept hearing, you know, people's vets, 2 of them aren't making it to the end of the year.
Right.
There's some.
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got the call that she was taking these 4 to the den and bought a ticket the very next day. And it was probably the most expensive plane ticket I had ever bought. And it was for my daughter and I. And we hopped on this plane, and it was New Year's Eve. And you're on this plane with people flying to New York, flying to Vegas. Oh, where are you going? And you're like, I'm going to go see the vicar, go to the den, right? You're just, you know.
Oh, people think we're crazy.
Yes. And the incredible Sue Cederholm let me use her car, so I didn't have to rent a car, and stayed at a friend's house. But this day, so we watched her. We watched her head north on the other side of the Snake because you can't travel the Inner Park Road then.
Yeah.
And we went up to Pilgrim Creek to where the bridge is, because typically she will head up that drainage, head up to where she does. And I remember sitting there and with my daughter, and we were on the bridge, and it feels like hunting days. You know how people get excited, they think they see something or whatever, you know, and you think you see movement, and then it's a bird, or it's because you're so excited, you're waiting. And I see something move, and like when you look down Pilgrim Creek at that drainage, there's a lot of undulation, right? So she could go down and come up, and she kind of comes up, and you see this face, and then you see these, and I lost my mind. And sure, I was an absolute girl on that bridge, crying my eyes out, trying to like trembly get all my gear together, yelling at Sue, who's in the car beyond the bridge. Like I'm jumping up and down, and here she comes. And it was this bluebird day, and you know, the sparkle on the snow and the light breeze, and some of the sparkles were like blowing through the air. And as she walked, she just, like, I have video of it, she would swing her leg out to try to cover it. Like you can see she's just post holing the whole way.
Making way for those babies.
And they all got in this single file and followed her. And she came up to the edge of the road and there was this huge bank of snow. I mean, it took her probably 20, 30 minutes that we sat there with her, watching her come up. And she just looked so tired.
I'm
She
sure,
looked
yeah.
so tired. And you would watch her head to like where this creek was, and she thought she was going to cross. And I have a video of it, and she stopped, she put her brakes on, and she was like, nope, can't go that way. And so she came up by the road, and there's this huge embankment, and she paused at the bottom of it, like she was choosing her path up. It was like she didn't have anything left.
Yeah.
And she came up, and I have this image of her, this side profile where she's just at the crest of it and the snow is flying and her leg is taking that step. And I remember putting my camera down after that, and you could just see the fierceness and determination in her eyes. It was just, and the few of us were there, like all stepped back, and she crossed the road and she disappeared into the trees. And seriously, like, maybe I'm being an absolute girl, but it felt like this moment of like one last look. Like, I made it. They're all here. See, it's 5 of us. Look at me. It's
That's
5
so
of us.
cool.
And I'm taking them all back home to where they were born. And then she just left. And we all sat there in silence after. And Tom opened a bottle of champagne. We all toasted to 399 with Stu right there on the road. And
that's so cool.
It was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. It was just this ultimate experience of grit and success and beating the odds, because no one thought she would take 4 of them, from my understanding.
Right. The odds were
against. And she had survived her tour of the town.
Yes.
Where there was an incredible specialized force keeping her safe, as we've all heard, right?
Yeah. I don't think it's being a girl. I think it's being human. And these animals teach us so much. And just listening to you, I mean, she taught you about grit. She taught you about being fierce. She taught you about persevering. I mean, it's so beautiful. And I think, of course, we all are in love with what we do and why we do this. But I think your images and this image shows people why we love what we do. And, I think it gives people a glimpse. And you have a really special gift, like just the way you were describing that day and the way you can remember it with the snow sparkles gliding through the air and those kinds of things. You do a really good job at sharing the story and the emotions of that moment. So how do you think she changed you or made you a better photographer?
Obviously to live in the moment.
Yeah.
Obviously, to one of my most favorite quotes ever is, and I think you've asked some other guests of yours, like advice or quotes, and mine sounds very cliche, but it's from a movie, Meet Joe Black. And do you remember that movie?
I think you told me about this. Yes. But
we talked about it on our group
we talked
chat.
about this quote. Yes.
And he's talking to his daughter about love, and he tells her to stay open. You don't know when lightning could strike. And I just feel like that has transcended so many aspects of my life with photography too, right? You're out there in those dragging days sometimes, and like with her, you just never know what's going to happen, and you never know what is going to come before you, and you've got to be ready for it. And there was a moment with her, and they're not great images, but I have a series of like 6 or 7 images where she had taken her 4 cubs of the year across the raging Pilgrim Creek with the spring runoff. And she took these 4, and they're this big,
tiny. Yeah.
And we're standing on the bridge, and she took a couple of them. One of them stayed and chickened out. One of them stopped halfway on this like boulder that was out of the river and wasn't going any further. I have a picture of this little pumpkin like sitting there. She made it across with 2 of them. And I remember watching this play out. And as a mom of 4,
right,
like
it's ringing true. It's
right?
ringing true for you. Yeah.
And she had to go back for him, but then the others, one of them followed her, and then one of them got swept down. And oh my gosh, it was one of the worst thriller movies I think I've seen in a while, because you thought you were going to watch one of them go down, right?
Yeah, you don't want to see that.
There's so much to relate to in those moments. And you can almost see her mental Rolodex going, like, how am I going to get this accomplished? And we're not backing out. We're
And
not
I've heard that
going
about
back.
her so many times. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's Tom that I've heard say that, well, we know bears can count because we'll watch her in those situations and she knows how many cubs are with her and how many she has to rescue. And she's counting all the time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
Which is probably why I number my children. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I know. It's so weird for me when one went to college and I had to stop counting the number that I'd always been counting. I'm like, wait, I have a new number.
Isn't that crazy? It's just crazy. But it's been beautiful because I've been able to share it with my kids. My kids have seen her. I've been back there multiple times with my daughter, Grace, who was photographed a ton back there. She can't as much now because she's in high school and it's hard to go, but they're beautiful moments and they're relatable and it teaches you that, as far as me, it teaches me that despite this chaotic, crazy world that we live in that feels so fast-paced and ever-changing, when you go back there and you sit and you watch a sunrise or you watch a sunset or you sit and watch elk grazing or you watch bison or you watch 399 or 610 or they're doing the same thing they were doing the year before. Are they not? Right? There's just this stability and this
pattern,
basicness, this foundational approach to living. And you can kind of, like, sometimes I'll find myself back there and you find a spot for sunrise and you find an animal and you think they're doing just what they were doing 3 years ago here.
Yeah.
And it really kind of resets you a little bit. It does for me. It certainly does for me.
Yeah. It's a good way to look at it. And there's a peace in it. And the busyness, like you said, the chaos is going on and they're still doing the same thing. And yes, that's so cool. Well, are there things you look for in the story of the moment? You have a really good memory of those moments. Are there elements that just stick out to you or maybe a memory, another snapshot that stands out to you?
You mean specifically out photographing?
Yeah, either way, like either are there things like just that capture a story for you that you seem to like remember each time, or is there a moment that just stood out that was such a good story that you remember the details?
I mean, obviously I've shared my 399 moments. There was a moment with 1063. I was alone with her. The sun was rising.
It's just a doll.
And it was before she had her cubs. She was just a babe.
Yeah.
And I remember photographing her with her litter mate after they had been kicked out.
Yes.
And do you remember the porcupine quills in the eye? I mean, it was.
See, that's what started I had been to the Tetons before, but like you, I saw her and 1063 and the other sibling in 2018. And that's what started it for me too. I was totally addicted. Yeah. It was
so Blondie. We were just like right around the same time.
Yeah, Blondie and her babes. Yeah. And so now that 1063 has her own babes, it's just so cute. It's so sweet to me. It's full circle. And she's so beautiful like her mother. So it's like, oh.
She's and I think about her mother a lot. Yes. Where is she? How is she?
I know, me too.
Well, yeah. She's not had an easy go the past few years.
No, has not.
That moment with 1063 though, it was her and I, and and many people listening know, when you get that one-on-one. And I heard twigs cracking and I was doing something with my gear and I stopped and she kind of came out of the tree line and she sat there and she sat down and she like scratched herself. And it's like, for me, those moments are these full sensory experiences. Like you can feel the breeze on the side of your face. You can feel, you can hear the twigs cracking. You can hear the bears. You can feel the sun. You can smell the trees. And you fully, like for me, feel immersed in their environment. Like it's this fleeting moment where you feel like you've been invited in. And man, you better sit there and take that in because it's gone in a few seconds. And I remember sitting there and taking a couple images and putting my camera down, which has been one of my biggest pieces of advice that I've been given. Like, put your camera down. Like,
that's right.
Take it in with what you have, what you've been given. And that's hard to do.
Yep, it is. But
there was another moment that was really special to me in the Beartooth last year. Was heading up to the Beartooth and you're not looking for bears. And you're heading up the road, your coffee in hand, the music's playing.
Yeah.
Your camera's in the back seat because you're just not ready. You're not going to shoot anything.
Are you thinking about views more or?
Well, there's like,
I've
the
never been
views at
there. It's on our, we might go this year, but
it's so incredible. It is, you feel like the only thing above you is heaven.
oh,
You're
that's
just
cool.
so
Yeah.
high, and the wildflowers.
Yeah.
And we come around this bend, and I wasn't driving, and you're just not ready. You know that. And I go, and I see this blob, and I'm like, what is that? And he says, they're bears, you idiot. And the like I just couldn't even make it out.
It just
And
wasn't like in your brain to think of him there.
oh, and it's this, and it was, there were four of them.
Oh
There
my
were four of them,
goodness.
Jen. And it was a mom and her three cubs.
Oh,
And
that's
they were
cool.
just, well, you know how they walk? We're how do they walk? They walk a lot. We're like, one's right at the hip of the next one, right? As they sometimes walk. And I get out of the car and I'm in socks. And because I'm just like, you gotta, like, it's those moments, right? Where you're just, your heart's racing, and I just didn't expect to see him there.
Yeah.
And it made me realize, like, you always have to be ready, and you never know what you're going to come across. And
It's so true.
I think we get so used sometimes to those Yellowstone and those Teton bears a little bit, that their behaviors, or their characteristics maybe, or where to find them. So just to run across one out of the blue like that was, it felt like it was a little more off the beaten path. And I know there's people probably listening, rolling their eyes, thinking, "Oh, we'll go 20 miles back in the backcountry and see one." Which, full respect for that. But yes, that was a cool moment.
That is a cool moment. Well, let's show your image. You had another cool moment with 399 in the water. You have a beautiful image of her. I don't want to miss that one. It's gorgeous. We're going to show that to everybody. I believe it's 399, Kelly, isn't it? And she's shaking off in the water.
Mm-hmm. And there's a spirit behind her in the shadows.
Oh, yes, there he is. Yep.
So this was at an obscure little pond in the Tetons, and I had got word that she was going to be there, that she was there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the most intimate moment I have ever had with her. Ever.
Your image portrays that too. And the way that you edited it and composed it, you can feel the intimacy of it.
There were lilies, you could hear the frogs. There was just a handful of us at the very beginning. And I wrote a post about this, how in that moment it felt like, science identifies her as 399. Mm-hmm. And there's so many dynamics and stories around this bear, politics and management. And it was like she transcended all of that in this moment. She was just a bear. She had no idea about the stories around her, and she was playful, and she was carefree, and they had just eaten an elk calf, and she got in the water and played, and Spirit got in the water. And I have an image like this where it's both of them in the water, and they're shaking off, and they're playing with each other and roughhousing. And it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful to not hear people, cars, and like, she just felt, it makes me sad. It makes me emotional looking at this, because we didn't know she was going to be gone a few months later.
Right.
And she just looked like she felt so free then.
That is so cool. And I'm thankful to hear about those moments, because she needed them. My goodness. Well, this is so beautiful. And people are commenting on the light and how gorgeous the light is. I think that D850 did just fine.
It was bad lighting and deep dark shadows. I had a little help editing that one. That wasn't all me. I was like, what do I do with this? That's
okay. We all need a little help every once in a while. We've talked a little bit about awe and wonder. And how important is that to you in wildlife photography in your everyday life? What is it? How does it fuel you?
Oh, it's everything. It's everything. It's celebrate the good moments. It's feel your fire and chase your fire. It's trust the process. It's stay open. You don't know when lightning's going to strike, and you don't know what's going to come before you. And we all have moments like that.
Yeah.
And if you're asking like that, how that transcends into my personal life, maybe it's, as a mom, and you get into the regular routine of raising your kids and caring for the house and trying to battle the dandelions in the yard and
It's
all
so
the
true.
things, right? And oh, the milk is only expired 48 hours, you'll be fine. And it, it's you just don't know when some beautiful moments are going to happen. And sometimes it gets really hard to feel like they are.
Yeah.
Sometimes it
True.
does. And I think that, like, just through wildlife photography and being in nature and being around these animals, it has really taught me to look for those moments.
Mm-hmm.
And there are times when I will get on my own Instagram and I will look at my own photos and think, that was a moment.
Right.
That was a gift. This was, and you may not realize it in the moment, right? But when you look back at it, you realize the pieces of your life that thread together to make your life. And sometimes you don't realize it when you're doing it, right? Yeah.
It's so true. I do the same thing. Maybe if I'm down or like, I'll just look back and like, I can't believe I've experienced all these moments. And like when you were saying that, it's like witnessing the sacred. Like how did I get to see that? It's like, I remember when we looked at each other in Yellowstone, where we're all geared up, we've got our lenses and we're all snow in our face, red cheeks, hair's crusty. And we're like,
what was the last part you just said?
Like our hair's crusty.
Oh, yeah.
And we're like, people at home, like, can't believe, like, just see us as moms that go to the grocery store or like clean up the dandelions in the yard or like, I mean, are there moments, there's two questions here. Like for me, there's a real disconnect for people here in my town. Like we basically look at each other and be like, I can't believe like we're pretty badass. Like, we're out there and then we come home and we're like, cleaning up the kitchen, doing the laundry. And there's a disconnect for me in terms of like, I'm the person that can go out with this big lens and do this. But
yes,
there's so many people in my life or in my town or whatever that have no idea and that like don't see me that way at all. And I don't, it's hard to reconcile that. In some ways I feel sort of like, well, that's cool. They don't know my superpower,
Yeah.
But in other ways, it's kind of like, I don't feel like as a woman, I get the respect, So that's a lot of question there. But I just remember you looking at me like, can you believe we like do laundry at home and we're out here doing this? And there's a real feeling of that.
It feels like two different lives.
Yes.
It feels like two different lives. And
yes,
because home is so routine and you got to stay on top of it. And you're right. And I mean, yes, the beautiful experiences of the animals and the wildlife. And what a gift to be drawn to that.
Sure.
I've had friends before that have wanted to come with me. And, I want to go with you when I'm on your photography trips. And I'm like, no. Like, these are the people that drive halfway to Yellowstone in one day and they book a massage on the way. And they're like, no, you can fly in and I may pick you up one day and take you, but you are not driving with me.
That's right.
And it feels somewhat badass. It feels, it just feels like you have a little grit. It feels like you have a little bit of grit. And I think that in itself is kind of a beautiful thing. I really do. And I feel like in our modern world, we get so disconnected from nature and we get so disconnected from like the wildlife that is in nature. And I think honestly that's probably the most profound thing. And the difference between, like you say, people in my town or people around me is they just don't see that. And there's not a draw to that, right? Just not.
Yeah, they just keep building neighborhoods here over every farm or wildlife spot they can get. And I'm just like, yeah, people do not see it. I think it's also cool is like, not that we're going to say our age or anything, but like women over 40 to say like, we've got grit and we're doing it. Like, I mean, honestly, did I go back to the car a couple times? Yeah. Was it because I was too cold? No, it was because I'm smart enough to know there's no shot here, So it's like, I can handle the cold if there's a shot.
I'm still sitting there with the Rams and I'm like, shut. Does that tell me I shouldn't be out here shooting this? Which I shouldn't have been, because guess what? I've not posted one of them.
I know. Yeah. They were too far away, too high up. I'm like, I'm going back to the Jeep. But it's like, it's pretty cool to have grit now, and
and it's really cool to get up and to drink. I'm a very ritualistic person. I've been told that too. Like, my morning coffee is a big deal. Like, it's a big deal.
Yes, I remember.
And I know, I mean, everybody stop for coffee.
It's okay. I'm used to it. Yes.
And I mean, just those mornings where it's like you have your coffee in your styrofoam cup. And some mornings, there's been times I sleep in my car, so it's in my Jetboil. Or there's times where you're staying at the Hatchet, or you're staying somewhere ungodly. The Hatchet is not ungodly, but to just get a cup of coffee feels harder than finding a bear. And you finally find it, and well, here's the thing. Here's one of my things. Like in a hotel, those Keurigs that they have, I don't use those, because people come in there with their cups that they've already drank out of, and they fill it with water and pour it in there. Like, does not everybody think about this? So
here's a tip, everyone. Don't drink out of the Keurig. And
they are now. You have your coffee in your styrofoam cup, and I don't know, your trail mix or your beef jerky, and you're eating it off the carb bumper, and you're just it's so different from slinging French toast at 6:30 on a Thursday morning, right? And
it's the absolute best. Like when I pull in, and I've done the run up north, and I get to Coulter Bay, and I stop and get my hot tea, I'm like living the life. I'm like the happiest person. I'm the happiest person on the planet. Go in there, get a hot tea. I'm cold. I'm dirty. I don't care. Like,
and what feels really
all the
good?
Animals. Pardon?
It feels really good to do the naughty things, like buy a Snicker bar.
I know, that's what you said. Let's talk about the wildlife photography things. Like, we have the fatigue. We get the snacks that we don't usually have. We wake up super early. There is a wildlife photography lifestyle.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. And
it's fun.
Yes, it is fun. and I do enjoy when I'm in the Tetons. I love a good sunset.
Yes.
I love, I've been known to have beef jerky at sunset too, right? Or your trail mix or whatever, and a little bit of whiskey or a beer, and you're watching the sun go down. And it's so different than cleaning up chicken Parmesan and stuff at home, right?
Oh, totally. It totally is. If you have questions for Kelly, go ahead and put them in the Q&A right now. And we're going to keep talking, but you can put questions in the Q&A box or in the chat, and we're going to get to those in a few minutes. I was thinking about your great gray owl photos too. So we're going to look at one of those, because you've got bear photos, but you also have great gray owls. Let me find that guy. There we go. It's going to take a minute. It's not all Tetons. Maybe this is the Tetons.
That's outside of the Tetons.
Okay.
That was my very first great gray owl experience last fall.
That's cool.
And I will tell you, and there's probably people watching, everyone talks about great grays. I'm like, it's a bird.
I know. You were so funny in Yellowstone, because I knew all the birds. And you're like, Jen, what's with the birds?
You're like, there's a dipper.
There's a dipper. Like, there's a horned lark. You're like, so what?
Dipper. So
listen, there's nothing else. We got to think about the dipper.
Oh my gosh. I went on a boonie stomp with some friends last year, looking for a great gray. And apparently you look for their poop to find them, and whitewash. And this apparently is supposed to be fun.
Oh, you're hilarious.
And then they have their phones, and apparently they have these special apps where you hold it up and you hear sounds. Yes. And
it's Merlin.
Is that what it is? Of course you know what it is.
Of course I know what Merlin is.
I'm walking along going, 1063 is probably out with those babes right now. And we're looking at white stuff on sticks on the ground. And then we're looking up, and we're like, I don't get it. I just don't get it. And so this picture was taken outside of the Tetons, and it was actually taken on the weekend right after 399 passed away. So we went to a memorial for her, you know, had our sadness and all of that, stopped and paid respects to where she was killed, and hung out with friends and memorialized her. And it was beautiful. And it was sad. It was so sad. And we went up north, and he's like, we're going to go find owls. And I'm like, oh God, okay. So off we trek into the woods, and I'm wet up to my knees. My shoes are wet. And apparently you walk and you just like look up and you look for them. And I'm like, okay, it's almost dinner time. I mean, there ain't nothing here. There's nothing here. And it's like, and he's like, I promise you, it's an interactive experience when you find one. And I'm like, but yeah, let me tell you, this is my friend Kyle. And he will say, he calls bears fluffy cows. He says they're boring to shoot because they just sit around with their head on the ground. Well, you know what? We found this out. And it flew around from branch to branch, and it flew down on the ground, and it caught, it got its food, and it has something right here on this stump it's eating. And it's hard for me to say, but I think I was proved wrong a little bit.
I was going to say, how do you feel now?
It was kind of really cool. And
they're very cool. Yes.
They are very cool, and they are so silent, and they're so swift, and they are, to watch them lock in on something and fly down and grab a vole. I think he has like a vole or something there. I don't know. My wildlife guide friends will probably be like, that's not what that is, Kelly. But I don't know. It's some little rodent that runs around in the grass. It was pretty amazing. It was pretty amazing. And I can see the charm now. I can see the charm.
They are beautiful. Look at those eyes.
Yeah. Crazy. He was like, don't steal my dinner.
I will fight you for it. I want to show this one quickly too, because it does sort of encapsulate our Yellowstone trip. This is a gorgeous image. Bison. We had great bison moments.
We had a lot of them, didn't we?
Yeah. I still have so many images that I haven't even gone through, edited, posted, nothing. So many. It
was fun. Snowy bison. People may say I see a lot of them, but you can do a lot with those photos. They're so cool. I mean, those guys are fierce, aren't they? Do you remember the little one we saw, the little red dog?
Red dog, yes. Yeah, I know. I love the tongue coming out of the one I love that.
Yeah.
Great job.
And that one looks a little younger, I think. And
yeah, so, I think so. Yeah.
It reminds me of this kid in the back seat. Are we there yet? Bored out of their minds. Right?
Where are the snacks?
But it was funny because I think a couple of us have an image of several of them coming down the road, and we all want that shot of them come, and we all hope they're lined up perfectly, right? You have the center one, and then you have sporadically spread out. And remember that we got out and they're on their way, and all of us just like plopped down on our chest on the ground to get that shot that we wanted. And you're looking through your lens, and then you start getting yelled at because apparently they're getting close because you don't see that.
I thought it was tougher for me than what I thought it would be, which is wildlife photography, honestly, because there's a lot of constraints. Well, I thought the Northern Road had so many constraints. You couldn't stop. We got a ticket. Can't stop.
A ticket. Can you believe the ticket?
No, I couldn't believe that. And we get a ticket. We can't. They haven't plowed the pullouts very well, or not that many. And like there's snowbanks, you can't step out. I mean, it was just a lot of constraints that I wasn't quite ready for in the winter. I do Tetons in the winter every year, and I feel like it's a little more laid back. So I was thinking it would be laid back, but it wasn't laid back. Those rangers.
No, it was intense.
Intense.
It was intense.
There's no one here. Anyway, we love the Rangers. So we love the Rangers, but
we love
the Rangers. It was just unfortunate.
And apparently that ranger that gave us the ticket, he must love weddings, I guess.
Yeah.
Because remember, they were shooting that wedding right in the middle of the road.
A wedding photographer who was stopped and parked in the road with a couple in the middle of the road, but they did not get a ticket. So
I know.
That was tough. That was a tough situation. I felt bad.
You want to hear a funny story about a ticket?
Uh-oh. Maybe.
I got a ticket one time with the Tetons, okay? And oh gosh, I was mortified, and I was with my daughter, and we were just driving over the Pilgrim Creek Bridge, and we didn't know where we were just cruising. You're just cruising, and once again, 399 quads just pop up out of the blue, pop up in front of us, and cross the bridge. Everybody slows down because there's a few of us driving, and a ranger happened to be there. I don't know if it's officially a ranger or I don't know. I don't want to call him the wrong. And so we're all kind of stopped on the road, and I hear him, he's behind me and he's yelling, and I'm not going to say his name because I know his name on the ticket, but he's yelling, keep moving. And it felt like he just didn't have control of the situation because it just happened so quickly. Well, I kind of keep rolling. I come down to a super slow roll. There's people behind me, in front of me. I can't go anywhere. So I take my camera out because she's now crossed and she's hopping in the creek to fire off a few shots. Meanwhile, people are parking and they're running down Pilgrim Creek after her now. Okay.
Of course. Yes.
He comes up to my window and tells me to pull over.
Oh.
So I pull over, and I got a ticket. It was a federal misdemeanor for like not listening to law enforcement.
Oh. Welcome to the Tetons with the bear jams.
Oh my gosh. And I'm thinking, I volunteer at school. Like, I cut out hearts at like Valentine parties in 3rd grade. Are they going to let me do that? I don't have a federal misdemeanor. And I'm a dental hygienist. It's like I need. So thank God the friends in front of me had videoed it all. And so I had to come home to my husband at the time and say, I need to hire a lawyer.
Oh no.
And I had to hire a lawyer in Jackson, and I ended up getting out of the ticket. Thank God, because
they had video. Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen in a bear jam.
But the thing is, some people have radios. And so when that happens, it goes out on the radio. So within seconds, I'm getting these texts like, what'd you do, Kelly? What'd you do, Kelly?
Because they know you.
You know nothing is secret in the Tetons.
Well, we do have some questions for you. Are you ready for some of the audience's questions?
Let's go.
Let's go. Jenny Cannon, who you know, was on our trip. She asked, what is your dream photography destination?
Oh, geez, that's Alaska.
Alaska?
I mean, the bears there. Oh, yes. Like hearing your guys' stories, seeing images. My friend Sue guides up there. She's been trying to get me to go. The bears there are so different. The experience looks so different. Mm-hmm. That's definitely it. And you know what else I would love to do? The Spirit Bear on Vancouver Island.
Yeah, me too.
That looks incredible.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
And the thing is I could drive there.
I know you could. Go do it. Go do it.
So that's definitely.
That takes me days to get there.
Well, you should fly out and we should go.
I have done Vancouver Island before, but before I was a photographer. So now, yeah, I have been there.
So not since 2018.
That's right. And what Jenny wants to know, who have you been inspired by in the photography world?
Greg and Sandy.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Sandy.
Yeah.
I love that woman. Mm-hmm. I love that woman. Mm-hmm. She has grit. She has good morals. She has been through so much in her life. She has learned this art of videography in this chapter of her life. And she's exquisite and she's beautiful and she's so good at what she does. And she puts in the time, and they're not ostentatious about it. No. I love that woman. I love that woman. When the 399 film came out, and it was in, what was it? Was it in Bozeman? I can't remember where the world premiere was. I drove there and I wanted to congratulate them all and congratulate her because it was just such a moment. So she's definitely someone.
Yeah.
Someone else, my friend Kyle, and for him, it's the editing. Mm. I have always known up until I met him, I've always been known as this person who has all these images. So here's a black hole of my life, right? Every time I would go to the Tetons, I would buy more camera cards because I never unloaded them. Can you believe that?
Yes.
They would just like go in the safe and I'd just buy more. and I would show up and I would be teased by my friends. Oh, how many camera cards did you bring on this trip? And I would never look at my images and I would never do anything. So I started posting them and I started learning to edit because when I got into it, I was like, I'm never going to edit my images. I want them in their natural state. These people that edit their images, right? And I started doing it. And I got this nickname Y3K or something like that, because my images were like 3 years old. And he's a beautiful editor. You know, he's a beautiful editor. And so it's really inspired me to learn Lightroom and all the nuances of Lightroom and what you can pull out of an image and how you can manipulate an image a little bit and how you can take it from a snapshot to like a piece of art. Try to make it a piece of art and enhance what is already there and how to bring attention to that little nuanced part of the photograph that brings it alive. And it's really lit a fire in me, and I can sit for hours editing now, for hours, and it's
fun.
It is fun. Yeah.
That's Kyle Allen, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Because when I met you in the fall, Kyle Adams and Kyle Allen were both there, and we were getting the Kyles all mixed up.
We were looking at well, one of them's probably a little shorter than the other one.
Yes. But they both do great grays, and I had never met them before. I'm like, Kyle, I know you. Oh, like, wait, there's two Kyles. They're here. That was fun. That was really fun. Such nice people. I just love
everyone is so nice. Yes. Everyone is nice.
Yes. And then Cody asks, what's your favorite thing to photograph, owls or bison? I couldn't tell if this was an inside joke or if this was a real question. So maybe I think it's a real question.
Owls or bison? It would Marine's not going to like it if I say owls because she loves her bison. And the snowy bison are amazing. But I will say the owl experience, that's pretty cool.
Well, I like it for you because you can see maybe the benefit of some bird photography.
Are they called birds? Or do we call them like flying ninjas? Do we call them birds? And you know what? It's challenging. Like, guess what? They have wings and they just like up and fly.
It is very challenging. Yeah.
And those big bears don't do that. And I'm like, oh, I'm actually not so good.
Right. Warbler season is about to start here in Indiana.
What season?
Warbler. Look at you. Warbler migration. We have a great migration that comes through here. And I told you, if you're from Indiana, you have to know birds because I don't have big mammals. I have deer. I don't have big mammals. So you have to know birds. Okay. And so, warblers are coming through, Kelly. You might want to get a plane ticket.
Let's go see.
You might want to get a plane ticket. I have a guest room. I can kick my kid out of the one room. We have a guest room. You can.
I have a bird joke for you.
Oh no! Oh no!
You would love this. You will be so proud of me.
This is the first joke, ladies and gentlemen, on Wildlife Conversations,
and it's so appropriate. And those who know me have heard this joke a million times because I'm so proud of it. I think one of my kids told me. And we all know what a big grouping of crows is called, right? Okay, that's not the joke though. Okay, so let me just do the joke. Do
the joke.
What is is 6 crows called?
I have no idea, Kelly. What?
And it's attempted murder. Because a big flock of them is called a murder.
Oh my goodness. Okay, we're moving on. We're moving on, everyone. We're moving on. Okay, so someone wants to know, where are some of your favorite local spots in the Seattle area that you like to photograph, like to shoot? Uh-oh.
It's a little womp-womp, but
yeah.
There's some bird refuge here. That's supposed to be pretty cool. Well, I've been, and it's kind of where the sound meets the water, the salt water meets the land. And they have short-eared owls up there and a lot of cool things. Those guys are fast.
Yeah, they are. And that's what I was going to say earlier about the warblers. I get so frustrated. I just get mad. So it's like, I'm not so sure. I'm really not cut out for it, but
yeah,
it's fine.
I don't know.
I mean, it's kind of practice.
Yes, it is. And I've gone up there to try to be a birder.
Yeah.
And
Philip Scrimshaw was saying eagles are good in that area. If you like eagles.
Yes, I have. In January, February, you can go up north to the river and see the eagles. And I did do that. And I saw a couple. Yeah. But of course they're perched along the river with 1,007 twigs in front of them and behind them. Like I didn't.
That's what I have here too in Indiana. Everything is so cluttered in our forests. Yeah.
Yeah. And we have a lot of elk. We really have some cool
That's
elk,
nice.
so I can head up to the mountains and go look for the elk during the elk rut and
That
stuff,
is
which is
very nice.
which is fun. And that's my goal. My goal is to be better about local photography. We have some rams over in the eastern Washington. The Olympic Peninsula is gorgeous, and they have a different kind of elk called the Roosevelt elk, which are really beautiful.
I'm
Maybe
hearing,
I don't
I
have
can
a
hear,
lot of Griz.
I can hear Michelle Osterhus. She's probably going to comment right now, but that's her favorite place to like go see the orcas and the landscape.
I have went out and photographed orcas before.
Yeah.
And oh, they're hard. They disappear underwater, and you don't know where they're going to come up again. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
So I do
and soak in that beauty though.
There's so much. And I just learned we have puffins in the Salish Sea here. You knew that?
Yes.
Oh, of course you.
Oh, Kelly. Well, I'm going to switch places with you for a couple weeks just so you can see how different.
I've been to family reunions in Nebraska, and I don't know if I'm up for that.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, puffins.
That's cool.
So it is. I would love to get out there and do that too. So that's my goal. That's my goal for the year.
Okay.
Oh, I'm seeing on the comment Port Townsend for a puffin.
Yes, Michelle is telling you. Yes,
Michelle's being a show off and telling me what's in my hometown here.
She loves it there. Okay, so Bo Weldon asks, how do you decide to share or not share about sensitive animal sightings?
Oh, leave it to Bo.
Yeah.
What a dog.
Bo knows.
How do I decide? Yeah. If people share information with me, I like to reciprocate. I think that there's generosity and cooperation in that. I really do.
I agree.
Do I? I usually try to be pretty careful about what I post, like specific locations.
I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted.
Specific locations. But I don't know if the answer is he's looking for. I just think reciprocity is a good thing. In the Tetons, and in that whole Greater Yellowstone ecosystem, that a lot of people know a lot of information, and to just blatantly farm it out, right? I don't think so. I think we have a certain amount of duty to protect these animals as much as we can. So you have to be very selective what you share, and especially if something's happening in real time. Should you go on a story about it if it's some really famous bear? I don't know if you should be doing that.
That's a good point. And I like turning the location off your metadata, your files, things like that.
Yes.
I did that too. Yeah. Let me see the.
Or if you see a wolf, you could just say, I saw a coyote. There's ways around, right? You gotta know how to work the
system. David Fairweather wants to know, were you shooting raw as you compiled all those cards? Or JPEG?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, now, you've got.
Is he thinking how much money was spent on cards?
Yes, probably. Well, now you just have such an archive to go back and look through. That's cool.
Well, yeah, that's why I have so many images.
Yeah.
Like a Friday night, I can pour a little whiskey and light a candle, and I can sit there and go through all of these images and be like, holy heck, like, wow, I took that like 4.5 years ago. And that's kind of, it is fun. It's fun to relive. And you know what the cool thing is I can still vividly remember what led up to that image, what that animal was doing the day before, what I did to get that shot, what they might have been doing that morning, what it sounded like, those things just settle in and they don't leave. It's pretty cool.
Well, I think just listening to you in this last hour, I think people need to take away what you're saying in terms of remembering those 5 senses. It's a real inspiration to me to do that the next time I'm out. I think I am, but I'm not consciously aware or thinking like I can hear the twigs cracking, or, I can see the snowflakes dancing in the wind and things like that. Like, I want to hold on to that a little bit better than I have been. And I think I take those moments away in the feeling of it, but I'm not sure that I am banking those details and the 5 senses. And so I think that's something really good for people to take away from this tonight, is like, think of the 5 senses, think of the whole story. And then that kind of encapsulates that emotion too, when you can remember those details, and it helps you tell that animal's story so much better when you're remembering those details. I mean, it's like 8th grade English when they told us show, don't tell.
Right?
Totally remember. I mean, I was my former English teacher, and I'm remembering in their essays always saying like, show, don't tell. Like that's what you're doing tonight. Every time you talk about an image, you are showing us with all those details that you remember from the five senses. So I want to.
Oh, and I'm doing such a good job of not getting teary-eyed because I can
I
when I
can
talk
tell.
about
I
certain
know. I
things.
know. I know. And I know. I've a couple of times can tell you are, and then I can tell I am. And it's like gotta hold it together. It's going to be a very different spring. So it's going to be an interesting spring. So
I made a post about her this morning too that I've had
yep.
and an image of her, and it's just it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be
It's
so
going to be very weird.
Yeah. But there's a lot of gratitude. There's so much gratitude.
Yeah, so much gratitude and bringing attention to all the bears that are there and around the world. So, yeah. Um, so I think this is Michelle asking if animals could leave Yelp reviews, which one would you give if animals could leave Yelp reviews, which one would give you 5 stars and which one would chase you off the platform? As a wildlife
Does
photographer.
Michelle need to go like make dinner or something? Which animal would give me a
So like which animal would give you a 5 stars for behaving well and being a good photographer, and which one would chase you off the platform and give you a 0?
Okay, so I'm really gonna go out on a limb, and I know people are listening, and so I'm thinking like if I ever been in a bear jam and I've done something I shouldn't do or I've tested, I don't know. I'd like to think I haven't, but I would think the animal that would give me a 5-star review would be the bears, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I feel like we live in this time right now where a lot of them are getting killed by hunters, shed hunters, cars, ranchers, how political, it's such a dynamic issue with these bears, right? And a lot of people go into bear country not prepared, and a lot of bears lose their lives because of it. And I think there is some value in expressing the lives of these bears, that there is more of an emotive layer to them. There's more of a connection to nature to them. There is more of a resilience. Like you see these maternal qualities in these sows raising their cubs. And I think
see them look both ways when they cross the street. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, Bruno making his parade south every year, going to look for the ladies. I don't know if that does it. I don't know, but I think the bears would probably give me a 5-star review for that, because I think all we can do to help keep them alive and keep them safe with everything they face, I think there's a lot of value in that. A negative review, I don't think that owls probably like me from what I've said about them. I don't
birds,
think
birds are all giving you. They're all like, get this Kelly out of here. She gets a 0. Do not follow, subscribe, look any of her photography.
Yes, I was very judgmental before I even knew, and that's not what I teach my children.
Suba says crows for the attempted murder.
Thank you.
Oh, Renee Hershey's asking Kelly. She says, Kelly here from California. This is Renee, loving this talk with you. Question: do you use a tripod a lot? And if so, which one do you like best?
No, I don't use a tripod a lot because it just annoys me. I'm just like fumbling around, and I'm late to the game. I missed the shot. Like I have beef jerky wrappers falling out of my pocket. Like I'm such an idiot out there.
You're not. I think it's honestly, I bought the big heavy Gitzo deal, and I don't know if it really fits me. I can't, like you're saying, it's exactly what you're saying. So I totally get it.
I do have a picture of me carrying my tripod.
Yes.
And it's as tall as I am. Yeah. And that's probably why I don't carry. And I think is it a Pro Media Gear? A friend gave it to me, sold it to me. I think it's, I just don't use it a lot because I feel like it just slows me down.
I feel,
and I probably should. That's one thing I don't use too, is I have a 1.4 teleconverter in my camera bag that I rarely use, just because I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to switch it. It affects the light. It affects,
yeah. I know. I think some of those things, especially the tripod, it's heavy, and I mean, it's hard to travel with, like because I can't do the 26-hour trip, like by car. I do sometimes by car, but I have to choose flying sometimes. So like, I'm not flying with that. And I know people like the Peak design travel tripod. So if
Jenny has that, doesn't
yeah,
she?
Jenny, I know that people like that, Renee. If you're looking for a good tripod, I do know that several people have said the Peak design travel tripod. Several people have said that over. It seems
I
like,
would leave that in a hotel room.
yeah,
Because it's a travel and it's small. This is how I roll. It's terrible.
yeah, yeah.
But I hear it's great.
I do hear it's great. And I want to get better, especially for video and things like that. But it also, I feel like it cuts down on my creativity when I can't move quickly and down and do different angles and all that. So I just find myself either with a monopod or hand holding. I don't know. So,
Or, you know, I get on my stomach a lot or rest on my knees or there just always seems to be another way. Yeah, because I do. I feel like it constricts me and I don't like that. I don't like that.
That's how I feel too. And I just don't like it. Okay. I'm going to see if we have any more questions. Oh yeah. Renee says, thanks for your opinion. Not a fan, not a fan. That's great. Okay. If you have any other questions, just put those in the Q&A. And I think we're going to move to the speed round, Kelly.
All right, let's roll.
Ready? Are you ready?
Yes,
We've
I'm
covered
ready.
some of this, but you might have a different answer. So what's in your camera bag that you can't do without? Besides your camera body and like maybe a lens, but what can't you do without?
My $5 bill. It was given to me several years ago and a friend wrote good luck on it. And it's always been in my camera bag and I've never taken it.
That's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's a new answer. I was not expecting that. Okay.
It seemed to have served me well because
That's really cool.
Yeah. It's kind of like my good luck charm, I think.
Yeah, that is really cool. What's something in your camera bag that you bought but you never use?
My 1.4.
I've had a feeling.
Yeah, it just sits there. It just gets trashed around.
Other people say that too. I do use mine. I do use it, but then what I'll do is then I don't make good decisions. I just leave it on all day. And I'm like, I probably could have taken that off a couple hours ago, but here I am with it still on because it's the lazy factor. It's the taking it off and on, that thing.
See, and that's probably why I don't use it. I think it fills up I just got a new camera bag and I love it.
Nice.
And I think it fills up one of the compartments and it makes me feel like I have a lot of gear. So maybe that's why it's still.
That's funny. Makes you look good.
Yes, you open it up and you're like, look at all my stuff.
Look at all my here. Stuff. Look at all this grit. Look at all this grit.
Yes. Never mind the snack wrappers and all this stuff and the dog treats that are in there.
Yeah. So besides beef jerky and coffee, what's your favorite snack while editing or driving?
I always have a Snicker bar when I'm out looking for animals. Always. Love that. And you know what my new thing is that seems so naughty to me because I'm a pretty like diligently healthy eater. And I tell all my patients as a dental hygienist, like you shouldn't be drinking these energy drinks. It's the acidity of them, and we're seeing like increased decay rate. Well, anyway, I have started in the past year. I will get like a Celsius energy drink in the afternoon. You know when you're dragging and you're just waiting for that second session, and I have started doing that, and it doesn't give me the jitters, and it feels so naughty to buy one of those. I almost feel like I'm buying beer with a fake ID because I feel like I'm one of those people that can't cope and I need something to cope. And it's like this big advertisement in the store.
Well, I remember you making fun of me because I had my first Red Bull in Yellowstone.
You did.
I was like, ooh, we're so wild. We're so wild. I'm having gluten and Red Bull. Like, okay. I really am more fun than that, I promise. Okay, so then what is the best piece of advice you've gotten?
Wait, can I say one more thing?
Yes, absolutely.
Creekside Deli sandwiches in the Tetons.
Creekside Deli. Oh, I have heard of that place. Yes.
I
have not been there yet.
They're incredible. Yes, they're incredible. And I will usually like stop to get one of those to take out with me if I can.
That's fun. That's fun. That's a good tip. I've got my Persephone mug here. I am a sucker for Persephone.
Oh, aren't you high society?
Well,
let's see it.
Of course. It's a moose. How can you not?
What is your moose on it?
How can you not? I know.
That beats my styrofoam cups that I find with my yucky coffee.
It's a little treat for me because I'm sure we do have very cute coffee places here. I just don't I'm just a homebody. And so I'm here editing or whatever. And I just don't go out and treat myself like that. So I think when I'm in the Tetons, it's just a little treat without kids, without work, it's just a little beauty. It's so beautiful in there. That's
Is
what
that one of your indulgences? Is a pretty mug and a
yeah.
cup of tea?
I mean, if that's all that's my indulgence, that's pretty cool. But that's pretty good. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't take much to make me happy. So
Yes,
stuff
right,
like
right.
that. It's just like after a morning of shooting, and I often stay in Wilson, and so I'll go to that one on that side on Wilson
Oh, you
side
will? Okay, okay.
and just stop in there. Like I'm in like full, nasty whatever I've been in the morning. So I don't look indulgent going in there. They're
It
probably like,
doesn't
"Who is
matter.
this
It doesn't
lady?"
matter. And sometimes it's fun to stop at Cowboy Coffee on the way out and get like a real cup of coffee and food if you can, if they're open enough.
Yeah. And like what you said, there's just routines that you get into when you're out there. And like whenever you're out, there's just certain things I like to do like that, like getting the hot tea or getting a little sandwich. There's just places that and taking them into the park.
Yeah, but I come home wrecked
I
from
do
those
too.
trips.
I do too.
I feel like I'm dehydrated. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Especially in the summer when you have those late sunsets and
Yes.
those early
And you're up
sunrises and
really
you're very,
early. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
It is
yeah,
tough. And then by the time it's time for me to get back in the car or the plane, it's like, yeah, it's time. It's
yeah.
time because I'm
Is
running.
it? I don't know if it's ever time to
It's
leave.
not, but I won't take, it's like you don't take any time off. I won't stop. So, and like my husband, if we go back in the middle of the day, like if it's sunny, we'll go back and get a bite to eat. And then my husband will say, you have to take a nap. You have to sleep. And I'll go lay down and then yell out from the bedroom, can I get up now? Can I get up? Like a
Can I
little
get up
kid.
now?
Can I get up? And he's like, oh
I want to
my
go shoot
gosh.
in some. I want to go shoot in some heat haze. That's what I want to do.
I'm like, I can't. The adrenaline is pumping. There could be something out there. I
I
can't.
know, right?
I can't leave. And then by the time I leave, I haven't slept. That's how I was in Alaska. I did not sleep in Alaska. I didn't sleep. I would just lay there all night. And then we'd have
'Cause
full
you were
days.
excited.
I was so excited. And then I would just lay there all night again. I think I had one night where I slept well, not well.
You did?
Yeah. So that was like 6 or 7 days of just.
I saw you like that in the car one day in Yellowstone with your Red Bull. I think you were shaking.
I was like, guys. Anyway, okay. Anyway, enough about me. What's the best piece of advice you've gotten about photography?
Put your camera down.
That's true. Yeah.
Put your camera down.
Yeah. Soak it in.
Because I think you see things more full scope.
Yeah.
And it probably, for me, it gives a different sense of perspective when you go back in to shoot, is put your camera down because you need to see what's going on around you.
Yeah.
And I think that's, yeah.
What's a wildlife photography moment that just filled your soul or filled you up? We've mentioned some tonight, but can you think of another one? Without crying.
I mean, they're just, I honestly don't want to sound boring, but they're some of the 399 moments that we've already talked about.
Yeah.
And especially in hindsight of not having her now, right?
Yeah.
And her passing, like it's like she's passed the torch, and what are we going to do with that now, right? Because we've always been trying to manage humans and bears, and all along she was doing it better than anyone.
Yeah. Speaking of passing it down,
you're killing me. Yeah. Look at those babes. That was after 15 hours on the road, rolled into the park, and here she comes with these kids. Yeah.
And this is 1063? Or
no, that's 399 with her floor.
This is 399. Oh,
you just can't see the other one. Yeah.
Oh, goodness, I didn't know that when you sent it to me. Okay, cool. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I didn't think she looked like 1063, but I saw triplets. And so I was thinking, yeah.
It was so hard to get the 4 of those little critters with the same, they'd hide in them. But yeah, that was the first moment I saw her.
It's beautiful. The light is beautiful. The only one I got with all 4, they were crossing the Moran turnout or something. I think that's where we were. And there were like hundreds of us there. Yeah. And the sun was setting and they all came across, and they're all tiny and got all their little paws, and Yeah. It was like, I couldn't sleep that night at all. I was just,
Do you have that posted?
It's on my
Oh,
Instagram
that's
somewhere way
really
down. Yeah.
nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
That
gonna have
first
to
year,
look.
2020 in June. It was June. Yeah. They were tiny.
They were.
I think we have a couple more questions. Let me check. Yes. Renee says Creekside has great coffee too.
Oh, I've never got coffee there, but I might have to try that. Yeah. I usually need it like right away. I get a little edgy. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yep. Yep.
it's
And David Fairweather wants to say, I find it very interesting to hear women's views on their approach to photography. I found them different than most men's approach. I'm relatively new to this myself, photography, Lightroom, cameras, lenses, etc., and have become completely absorbed in a good way. Well, he's got the bug like we do. I want to go to Alaska too, and do have photography trip booked to Churchill, Manitoba. Yep, another bucket list for a lot of us. I am truly looking forward to following you both and to more of wildlife conversations. Thank you so much, David. That's really nice.
sweet.
I do
Thank
think
you.
I think there are a lot of similarities. I don't know. I mean, I think that we are all very capable in the technical, but it does feel like women will, this is very much a generalization, so please don't get upset at me in the comments, but I do feel like we have a special gift of seeing the emotion and the relatability, especially to the female wildlife, like the female bears and the moose, and I feel like we can relate. But I think that women do bring a really special point of view to wildlife photography. And I think that's why it's so important to bring women on here and to hear more voices, because we've got a lot of great things to say as well. And I don't talk about the technical that much because it's hard. I mean, you just do it. I mean, I feel like we cover enough, but I don't want to sit and talk about what aperture you were shooting that at and all this stuff, because we see the image. We know you got it. We know you can do it. And it's like, I want to talk about the passion, the creativity,
Well, and that's probably like what you're saying where I go wrong. Like as a woman, I think women, I mean, women are innate nurturers, right? We're generally speaking more emotive and have more of this emotional connection. I probably get a little too carried away with that because I think sometimes I will post images like I just the technical part of it. I'm like, I mean, I've been made fun of about how little I know about that. No wonder I have so many camera cards. I'm like, yeah, I don't even know how do you download it and what am I going to do with it, right? And I just go buy more camera cards. But
yeah,
the whole emotive experience of these animals, I think is a beautiful thing. And I think that that's why for me, probably one of my strengths is probably not my photography. It's probably the stories I tell with it.
But Kelly, if you had bad images, no one would read the story. That's my
Well, they're
opinion.
not bad images.
They're good images that you're drawing people in to go ahead. The thing is that no one reads on Instagram, but if people are drawn into an image, they want to know more about it and they'll read it. And I think people do. I think people do. So you're drawing people into that animal's story, which you're good at, which we've talked about tonight. And that Suba says, I think women are also allowed to be emotional, unlike men. Very good point.
That is a very good point.
So I hope we inspire all people to look at both sides. And I think David Duchemin was very good at that, talking about the creative and the technical. And if you haven't listened to that episode, go do that, because of course he's so good at all things photography. But he even discusses it, like he doesn't want to talk about the technical. He'd rather talk about the creative and the creative process and that side of the art of it. And so, even I remember Siler and I were talking about it too, that sometimes this photography,
Siler's so great.
He is great.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how it's not even recognized as art. And I'm like, this is definitely art, in the way that you want to do it. If you want to do it that way, it definitely is an art. So, and I think women are good at it. Like we see the emotion and pull that emotion out of it. And women are really good. Like I think of Susie Esterhaas and the way she does babies and animals, and so good at that. So, I think that was a great.
Well, as mothers, have we not made like shapes out of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches? We're innately attracted to the art.
Right? We can do it all. Hearts out of peanut butter and jelly, everything.
It's like the lighting sucks here. There's a lot of crap in the background, but man, I'm crying my eyes out right now. So this image is going up, right?
That's so true. And many times it is about the memory. Yeah, it really is. So Kelly, what goals do you have for 2025, 2026? Do you have Things, places you want to go, things you're going to do?
I want to go to Alaska so bad. I want to go to Alaska so bad. Siler's reached out once or twice to go, and I just wasn't in the cards for me. My friend Sue guides up there, and I would love to go with one of them.
Yeah, and they do it off the boat, right? Which is a good way to do it.
They do. Another goal, definitely become more knowledgeable with local wildlife, and to become enamored by it. I just love me some bears. And
that's my problem too, is like Indiana doesn't have moose, and so
yes, or the moose too. And I love to get on the road at 4 in the morning and know I have 13 hours ahead of me, and I'm playing my music, a little Eric Church and a little Old Dominion or whatever, and roll. It's just the whole process, right? And another goal, I really need to get out of my DSLR.
Well, so if you feel you do, but it's like you've got to decide that for you. But your images look great, and everyone loves that D850 that has shot it. So
but it would be beautiful to have two bodies too, right?
That's good. That is true. And you could do two different lenses. That's right.
And it would fill my camera bag and make me look like I have a lot.
You would look like you have a lot of grit. A lot.
Open that flap. What am I going to pick in here?
Look at all this stuff. Well, so those are good goals. Those are good goals. I want to go back to Alaska too. I just don't know when, but I want to go back. I want to go to Africa. Do you have Africa on your mind at all?
Oh God, I should have Africa on my mind. Here's the deal. What kind of shots and stuff do I have to get to go? Like, that sounds like a pain.
Yeah.
The travel sounds difficult. And am I going to like being locked in a vehicle driven around all day?
You could pick one.
No, I sound like a Debbie Downer, don't I, right now?
Hey, you got to go where you're passionate. And I know you're passionate about the warblers, so you're coming to Indiana next.
You know what? I think I would really love Africa. I think I would love Africa. It's just, I think I would love it.
Yeah. But I think it's interesting because people definitely have a pull to places, and that's not the first thing you said, but people definitely have a pull to their certain animal that they like, or a place or a feel that they like. Like
I have a friend, and you know what's on his list? Collared lizards.
Yeah. See, that doesn't interest me at all. And so
does that?
I know.
It's like a warbler. It's like a warbler.
I know. It's so interesting how people have gifts for certain things, and it's fun. Like I love to see everybody have their passion and see other people's work. It's just not for me. Like I want an alpine lake. I want a mountain. I want a moose. I want a bear. Like I'm just more of the alpine cold and that kind of girl.
Me too.
I don't know. It's just something that calls me since I was like, 18. So I can't.
But you see some of these lion images, these beautiful images out of Africa.
Of course, yes.
Oh, and the dinners they have at night.
The animals or the people? The people.
Well, probably both, but I'm seeing the people at the end of the day. Like it looks pretty fabulous.
It does. Well, maybe we'll go together someday.
Maybe we will. That would be fun.
So where can people find you, Kelly?
Oh, I'm still in. I'm just on Instagram. I mean, I have my personal Facebook, but I need to do like my photography Facebook. I need to get that up and going. So just Instagram.
What's your handle? What's your handle? What's your thing?
My handle? That sounds like Smokey and the Bandit.
That
sounds very cool.
You're aging us. You're aging us.
You know that song? No, I've heard it on Spotify. I didn't hear it ever in real time. What's that song? Eastbound and down, road it up.
Oh my goodness, she's gonna sing for us now. We've got it all tonight: jokes, songs, tears, stories.
What brought us into this? It was. What were we talking about?
Your handle on Instagram is just
my handle. Kelly Wasenmiller photography.
Yeah, that's right. Breaker. And we're doing that in Yellowstone because Maureen, because she's so prepared, brought walkie-talkies for us. So
he did. Oh, and I'm on Threads too. I just started on Threads, but I'm not super active on there.
I'm not either because I don't get it. So that's okay. And that's okay. So people can find you on Instagram. If they want to follow you, please go follow Kelly and her beautiful work and all her stories that go with her images, and follow along. She and Griz are always traveling. And they can also buy prints from you, can't they, Kelly, if they want to? You've got beautiful prints behind you. Those are medals, right?
Those are medals.
Yeah.
I just,
moose. We didn't get to get your moose image, but people can see that moose image right there. Yep.
Well, yeah, I had to. Do you know that those are the first images I've ever had printed?
I know. It's unbelievable. I'm so proud of you for doing it.
Because I had to donate one for an auction, so I had to do it. Yeah. So
force us to do things. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a website or anything to sell, but obviously people can reach out.
Okay, they can reach out to you through Instagram then, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Well, I'm so glad you got to join me. We've been talking about it for literally months and months. Because I think I talked to you in like October and asked you. So this has been going. I'm so glad it worked out and we got to talk and I get to see your face again instead of just texting.
I know. And maybe I'll see you in May in the Teton.
Yes, I'll be there in May. That's right.
And Jen, I'm so proud of you for doing this.
Oh,
it is such a great platform. It's just this almost like sit down and have coffee and talk about what everybody loves. And it's a beautiful thing. And I'm so glad you're doing it. So thank you for having me.
I appreciate that. And I'm glad I'm honored to have you. Yes. I think we could talk for hours and hours, but I don't want to bore people. So
I know.
We have amazing people coming up next too. I mean, you're part of this amazing April lineup. So next week we have Deirdre Denali Rosenberg, amazing conservationist, photographer, hiker, explorer. She's April 23rd at 2 p.m. Eastern. And then the next week we have Carolina Noré. She will. I'm excited. She's going to be April 30th, I believe, at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. It's because she's going to be in South Africa, so it'll be late for her, and so around lunchtime for us. And then in May, Jackie Matichuk is coming up, and then Suba Joshi is coming up, and then in June I think I have Trish Hennessy, Kristen Lindsay. Yes. I got to ask some men. I've got all these women.
Trish is going to be a riot.
I know. I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Trish is going to be a riot.
So I want to thank everybody for joining us. We had a great live group tonight. Thank you for all your comments. Thank you for your questions and your encouragement and your funny comments, Michelle. And we're going to have to go back over those and read those when we're done, Kelly, because we were going so fast. But just a reminder that you can follow Wildlife Conversations on Instagram under Wildlife Conversations Podcast or under me, Jen L. Ritchie. You can also subscribe on YouTube. I'm slowly making my way to 1,000. I'm stuck.
You're gonna supersede that before you know it.
I'm stuck at 568. I'm gonna be stuck there forever.
You will.
Not that monetization on YouTube is a big deal, but it's, you see that goal every single graph and it's like, come on. Thank you, Trish. Trish is talking. Oh my gosh, you guys are so sweet. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Trish.
I see so many familiar names. Thank you guys so much for being on and following. And I hope you guys register and join me live again for all the great people coming up. And I've already got fall lined up. So we've got
Michelle, look what Michelle wrote.
Next time I'm in Washington, you're getting a call. Oh, she will too. Yeah, she will. She's a blast. She's a blast to shoot.
Is she?
Yes. Michelle's so fun.
All right. She's not going to take me to shoot birds.
She might. Owls.
I guess are puffins birds?
Oh, thank you so much, Renee. Thank you, Jen. You're the best. Owls only, Michelle says. Okay, you guys, listen, we can talk forever. And I'm so thankful for all of you. Seriously, in the crazy world that we're in, how thankful are we for these animals and for this community? So thank you so much, Kelly. And thank you everybody for joining us.
Love you, Jen. Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
We'll talk soon. Okay. Bye, everybody. Okay. Thank you.